Alright, so before I made the follow-up video on where I went over some of you guys' community complaints about the game, I wanted to make this video where I talked about some of my complaints of the game. Now before I begin, I want y'all to know that this is my opinion, so if you disagree, feel free to put that in the comments. And also, none of my complaints are really game breaking or anything. Most of these are just like, minor things I wish they would change, because I don't really think this game has anything in it that's like mainly too bad, and I think the balancing is pretty good. So this is more of like a rant slash what I wish they would do better type video. But with that being said, let's get into the first complaint. Alright, so my first complaint has to be the AFK system. To explain this better, there's literally been matches where like multiple people in the lobby will have AFK mode on, so you'll be in a full lobby, but the game will only start with like 3 to 4 people because so many people are just on AFK mode. And in a game like this, where every survivor is a vital piece to winning, it can just get annoying. And then Roblox takes a full 20 minutes to fully disconnect AFK players. And I don't know if they could do this, but it would be nice if they added a feature where if you stand completely still for 2 to 3 minutes, you get completely disconnected. Just think about it. In a game like this, there's no reason for you to be being completely idle for up to 3 minutes. If they added this feature, it would literally stop people from camping mid-game, and it would make it to where full lobbies are actual full lobbies of players playing. Now of course, if you're spectating or in the shop, you shouldn't be disconnected at all. But in a game where you literally have to work with your team to help them win, there's no reason why you should be standing still for more than 2 to 3 minutes and not be disconnected. Alright, so the next 2 complaints I have are actually both about Amy, so let's get into it. Now the first complaint, as much of you probably already expected, is her card system. Now do I think Amy's card system is bad? No, of course not. But do I think it can sometimes be annoying and overly punishing? Yes. Now of course, in the right hand and with a good amount of luck, Amy can be very strong. But sometimes the blind card is just too much of a risk. Now some people say that yeah, it's gambling, and sometimes gambling doesn't go right, but having a card that literally blinds her screen, and on some maps it's so blinding that it's just unplayable, just isn't fair. When up against other characters who can consistently play at an A to S tier level, sometimes Amy can't compete if you have really bad luck. Like the amount of times I've gotten LMS but my cards were just bad, and then I re-roll mid chase and then I roll blind card, is just insane. Because if you're not a tryhard who has insane map knowledge, rolling blind card mid chase, especially in the LMS, is basically just asking to lose, at least on certain maps. I feel as if you want to have bad and downsides to Amy gambling so badly, then her debuffs are simply good enough for that. Making it to where she can become literally blind and can't see a thing is just too much of a downside. And then it doesn't help the fact that they never tell you what the cards do in the first place, so the blind card could really confuse new players who have never played Amy before. Now the next complaint I have about Amy is kind of a minor one. Now as we all know, the full card is very underrated. And if you don't know what the full card does, it makes it to where Amy's stuns are only 2 seconds long, but it gives her a speed boost. Now the problem I have isn't with the card itself, but it's with 2011X. Now if you roll the full card with another card that makes you really slow, like for example the Sonic card, the payoff you get for the 2-second stun is no longer worth it. Basically what I'm trying to say is there's situations where the EXE will have 4 to 5 seconds of iframes after simply just getting hit with your 2-second stun. And if you have a slow card paired on top of that, you're basically asking to take damage for free simply because you landed your own stun. But at the same time, I could honestly really understand this downside due to the fact that if you pair the full card with the actual good card, she becomes really strong. Alright, so my next complaint is definitely more personal, but it's actually really important to me. I don't understand why you can only open settings and toggle music in the lobby. Now another dev said you can't open the shop while spectating for coding issues, but I hope this isn't the same reason. Like y'all don't understand the amount of times I simply wanted to just turn the music on or off during the game depending on what map we were playing on or depending on who got the LMS. Like there's been so many times where I needed to turn my music off because I was recording, but I had to do that before the match started. So I'll be in a game and then I'll get LMS, so then I want to turn the music on so I can hear the music, and I just can't do that. Or if you're like me and you like to play different LMS themes over your owns, good luck with doing that because you have to play the entire game with music completely off because you can't toggle it whenever you want to. And it's not just the music. Some people want to be able to open the settings mid-game so that they can test certain things in real time. Like sometimes I don't want to hear 2011X's Rage Mode theme for the 100th time, but when we hit that 80 or less, I want to hear that banger music still. Alright, so I want to keep this video short and not too long, so this is going to be my last complaint. And the last complaint is the LMS system. As much as I love the LMS system, there's one thing that makes it super annoying for the killer. Now, I don't think this is the best way to use Rage Mode, but some people use Rage Mode once the rings have opened to close them back again. This is an intended feature because it gives the killer just a little bit more time before everybody escapes to kill them. But the problem is, if you kill everyone and leave one person left, their LMS will kick in and completely nullify that time that you had for yourself. This makes using Rage Mode at the last second basically useless because once their LMS kicks in, they get their HP back, and at that point it's a free win because the rings just reopen for whatever reason. I don't know who thought it was a good idea, but giving a survivor an LMS while also simultaneously having the rings automatically open back up was just terrible because now there's just a free win. At the very least, if the 2011X still had a few seconds left while the player got the LMS, let them at least duke it out for those last few seconds before the portal just automatically opens up and they just run straight to it with the extra HP that they just got. But hey, these are just my opinions. But I definitely have more complaints and I definitely want to talk about those in future videos. But for now, I don't want this video to be too long. So with that being said, I'll see y'all in the next one.